Hello traders, welcome to today's video, Wednesday the 24th of July 2024. Bitcoin's still not doing a whole lot right now, just consolidating around this point of control, which is kind of what we would have been expecting anyway. Still thinking that there is a decent uptrend in play here, and there is a target to move up towards that value area high to break to new highs. Of course, we do have some catalysts this week. I'm getting my FOMO. It's the Bitcoin conference this week. There's going to be both presidential nominees are going to be talking at the conference. So I would imagine that creates a bit of a bullish catalyst or some kind of volatility as we go in later in the week, just for market moves as that conference is going on. Often it's actually been a bit of a dump during the Bitcoin conference because everyone that's there, all of the industry, like they like to create a bit of panic, but we'll see what happens on this occasion. Also, of course, we do have the Ethereum ETFs that are now live as well. So is that going to create some market movement? Is it going to be mainly centered around Ethereum and Ethereum ecosystem, or are we going to see a bit more movement from Bitcoin itself? I do personally think that the altcoins are the better trades at the moment. They are providing the better opportunities. However, if you're long Bitcoin, it's just stay in those long positions kind of situation. Scalp shorts on weakness or on like sweeps of highs and so on. But overall, I do kind of like the consolidation that we're seeing around this 66 to 67K area. And as long as we're holding around this zone, around about this POC, then I'm happy for what price is doing right now, and I'm expecting higher. Now, if there is to be a bit of a drop down, if we do see a bit of a dump, then 62K is on my radar. That we do have the range value area low down there. That is really the level that you would really want to see hold, because not only do we have some we do have confluence down there with the first gap really on the daily time frame. There is a gap, of course, a little bit below that and a little bit below that, but we do have this first little gap on the daily, confluence with the value area low. That previous week open as well down there. It would be roughly a 50% retrace from the low to the high that we've just seen. And also, if we just look back at this range, the confluence that we have here with, as soon as we started off within this range, offering support, you have that little sweep below, it turns back into support, you then consolidate around there again. You don't want to see this zone, this 62K, 61 to 62K area lost. Otherwise, it does start to get a little bit sketchy again, and we'd start to be looking at a scenario where those lows can come back into play, which is not something that you want to see. Okay, right now, we've seen previous occasions where we've had a decent markup in price, a decent trend, and we're seeing something similar here with a couple of waves up so far. Of course, this one did get that like fifth that didn't really take out the high. On this occasion, you've got these couple of waves, but I do think that we can start to extend further beyond this as long as we're holding within this zone here. So everything on the daily time frame and on these higher time frames looking pretty good. Having a week of consolidation after a big impulse up is not a bad thing. Relatively healthy, a bit of sideways movement, and then we would be looking for continuation. Now, as we go into the end of the month, next week, of course, as well, then I do believe that 67,470 monthly level will come into play if price is around there. So are we going to get a monthly close above that's an engulfing candle? Are we going to get that close below? I think the monthly levels, these higher time frame levels, are quite significant as we go into next week. Looking down here on the 4 hour, where again structurally there's not a whole lot going on here, right? We did have the gap on the 4 hour. Now this over here was not like entirely wickless, but we did actually just miss that the other day. So if we zoom in, this is on spot. Oh no, we didn't. We did take it out. So we took out the lows from this like almost wickless 4 hour candle where it was just pure buy side. Then again, of course, we had the Monday lows were taken out yesterday, and now we've taken out these weekend lows. over yesterday afternoon, overnight, and getting a decent bounce from that so far. I kind of like where it's at. I think it's very similar to what we saw towards the end of last week, where we have a small correction around a bottom that takes out some lows, and then if we can just break with a bit of an impulse, then that can send price to new highs. So yeah, for me, just still holding those long positions, not really changing anything on Bitcoin, and a little bit more of a focus on alts here. Now, if we look at anything else, something else that I think is worth pointing out is the VWAPs. So, of course, we did have that daily open, a little bit of a move below daily open here towards those previous day lows, reclaim that daily open, reclaim that VWAP, and now we're starting to push higher. It does seem as if this is all the right things to be having a trending up day. We seem to have passed that previous day VWAP close, and we're coming up towards where our previous day point of control is. I'll show you that on the TPO in just a moment. But when you do look at this from a VWAP perspective, having that swipe below, reclaiming, not taking the lows again, it does seem set up for a trending day in that direction, which would be quite nice. Weekly VWAP is another thing that I think is worth pointing out. That is just above us, and there is confluence there. So the weekly VWAP comes in at 67k, just under 67k. So of course that is the range POC. If there is to be a move up towards here, that goes back into that range POC. Also, if this does load, save me going onto the TPO right now, then we will see it's showing a little bit lower on here, that previous day point of control. But if we do go over onto XO, then just above us, we do have that previous day point of control and the previous day value area high. So if we're starting to get this acceptance back inside value area, then again, the levels that we can really be looking at are above us. We're almost there. We're almost at this POC, but we can see that daily open outside of the value area low from a TPO perspective on perps. And then we are getting this rise. We have got that confirmed acceptance back inside value area. It does give us a relatively high probability that we trade up towards those 67,200 zone to fill the value area of the previous day, which is what we very often see, right? So other than that, I mean, it's keeping it simple, looking for a little bit of upside. It has been a couple of days of like, will it go down? Won't it go down? What's the ETF going to do? All of that kind of thing. We saw the volume and the interest in the Ethereum ETF yesterday was pretty bullish. So I think any fears of an immediate dump have somewhat subsided. And yeah, yeah, just I think we can continue higher here. Poor highs on the day. It looks like they're about to get taken out. No poor days yesterday. Everything within this is fairly balanced. That's looking fairly good here. If we go on to this group, we do have some buying imbalances that are above that were at the top of 4-hour candles. So some things that we do need to be aware of is there is excess on the 4-hour time frame on each of these highs essentially. Okay, so we're coming into an area where there was aggression, seller aggression. All right, you get some trap shorts at the lows. We're coming back through that. It does look like it is clearing it. It is clearing it as we speak. It is clearing through these sellers that were here around about the 66,500, and then we would be looking to push on towards these 4-hour highs if we're looking at this chart. Anything else that we do need to say? I mean, I think yesterday was another day of it was a day of outflows. So a little bit of selling on the spot ETF. Maybe they wanted to buy some Ethereum instead. So they're diversifying their portfolios there over on the ETFs. But again, nothing significant. A lot of that coming from GBTC, which is what so often happens. Okay, but the ETF situation is relatively chill. And yeah, it's just kind of slow and steady every day. Now, just looking here on Agra at the CVD, of course, there was a little bit of spot selling that was happening yesterday, but it seemed to have been absorbed quite nicely. The move up that we're seeing so far today is pretty insignificant so far, so you'd say this has to start to extend. If we're going to be looking for shorts, you'd want to see perps getting a bit greedy up towards the highs. There is a very slight divergence in delta between perps and spot here, with it mainly being perpetuals that are leading this move higher, but it's nothing too significant. Okay, I would be expecting you want to see a bigger divergence between the two in order to start targeting shorts. So yeah, if you're in the long position, I think let's just see how this goes, see if it can push up a little bit higher towards 67 again, and then consider new short positions there. I keep doing ums and ahs because every day I seem to talk about these updates. They are kind of similar. Anything else that we can be looking at here that I just maybe have forgotten about? We do have this downtrend. Okay, this is also into a 15-minute OB just here, right? That's just been tapped into. So that fills the gaps on this 15-minute. That also, you're through the single prints. You've closed above that 30-minute gap. We're doing something very similar to what we did on yesterday, just before New York session opened. But yeah, it's just one of those days where let's just see. I like the VWAP as support. So because we've done this typical drive after the open, so you have that Asia session range that plays out, London session opens and we start trending higher, you'd want to see this hold as support. The other thing that you can do if you're actively trading this particular session, look to where your session VWAPs are. Yeah, so not just the daily VWAPs, but also look towards your session VWAPs. It was a very, very range-bound Asia session, not a lot going on. Just showing that maybe a small accumulation going on there, ready for a bit of a markup in price. Now, if you do an anchored VWAP from the London open, then you can see here that acting quite nicely as support. You want to see that maintain and continue to push higher. If there is a loss of this VWAP, then it would naturally give you opportunities for a short position to take it back down into daily open, and even then to take out those Asia lows. Of course, the Asia lows didn't take out the previous day low. So if for now, as I'm doing this update, see if this trend can hold higher. We are looking for a move back up towards that 67k area before I would look for any bigger short positions. However, if weakness does happen, with it being at maybe a little bit of confluence around here, if there is weakness and VWAP is lost and starts to trend lower, then I do think that there could be a target for those previous day lows and those Asia lows. So yeah, on that note, I am going to wrap it up here. Just keep this as a short update, and we're going to move on to the altcoins and start to look at Ethereum as well next. So thank you very much for watching. Please give it a like if you enjoyed it. Hopefully we do get some more interesting price action again soon. But whilst things are slow and steady, then I mean I can't lie and say things are exciting on the Bitcoin chart. They're not. But I do like to keep up with these updates anyway, just so you guys are aware of exactly what is going on. So yeah, cheers. See you again very soon. Have a great day. And yeah, bye-bye.